Welcome into the Bitcoin Crypto Weekly Close. I am the Crypto Bull God, and this is a Mango Bubbly. Thank you to everyone tuning in. Make sure to hit the thumbs up button, drop a comment, and click the old notifications bell to know when I go live. Hope everyone's been having a nice weekend. This weekend went way too fast for me personally. I felt like it could have been an extra day or two. Maybe an extra week or two. That's kind of how I feel. But some excitement. Some excitement is coming into the market. Now, excitement doesn't mean that Bitcoin is going from 19,000 to 29,000 in a single week. Excitement means that we are beginning to see some bullish structure build in a lot of these charts, and we're going to get into that. We're going to take a look at a lot of weekly views. We'll take a look at a more granular level. Thumbs up to everyone tuning in to help support the channel. Welcome in, Evan. We need to fast forward 3 months from now. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see kind of where we're at the start of 2023. We're going to get into a lot of these charts here, and something I've been pointing out, if you're subscribed here on YouTube, if you're subscribed on Twitter, I don't think you can do that. If you're following me on Twitter, you're following a lot of my content, I've spoken to the fact that the fourth quarter tends to be more of a positive quarter for Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency market. So we're in that fourth quarter, right? We're actually going to be closing out the month tomorrow. I'm sort of debating if I want to do another live stream tomorrow. It is Halloween. I don't have anything special going on tomorrow, but it is Halloween. I don't know. I might sit back, chill, watch a movie or two. But I was considering coming on here and closing out the month and looking at some monthly charts with you guys and gals. Gals is an old term. We don't want to say gals. You guys and girls. That makes me sound old. Did get a compliment today. Someone told me I look 27, so that was quite flattering, but far from it. So anyway, we're going to get into, I'm jibba-jabbing, and we're actually going to get into some charts here. For everyone tuning in, again, thumbs up button helps. I see looks like 500 people are tuning in right now, and I see only one like. So, I mean, if you smash the thumbs up button, it really, really appreciates me, I would really appreciate it. So we're going to get into a few charts here. We are going to be live. We're going to be live. Coming to you from South Florida. I'm in a good mood. Look, Phillies are up one. They're tied 1-1 in the World Series, and the Eagles blew out the Steelers today. I'm in a fantastic mood, and the Eagles are undefeated. All right, let's get into crypto. So we're going to be here as these charts actually close out. So we will come back to this weekly chart. This right now, let's kick things off here. Looking at Bitcoin, okay, what we like to see here, prices continuing to accelerate up. Like I said, nothing major has changed here in terms of we need to get above 24,000, which is this 200 SMA. If we look at some of these price indicators, what is encouraging to see, first off, look at the MACD, right? We need to get all the way back above zero. But once we start getting above zero and we have these positive, I don't know where that's at. Evan, can you share a little bit more info, if you don't mind? I'm not really sure where you're located at. I don't recognize the name. So as we get these positive movements up above zero and the crosses here, this is good. But we'll have to see where the MACD ultimately lands at on the weekly close. It's also favorable to see some RSI development here on the weekly. Ultimately, what I want to see is the RSI get above 41. Around the 41 level is a pivotal point on the weekly Bitcoin chart. Typically, when the RSI or the relative strength index is below 41, you tend to see some breakdowns in price and bearish action. If it's above 41, that's a good thing for the bulls. Stochastic RSI, not too much to tell there. It's above 20. We still have a positive cross going on. So good to see. I also drew this shorter term sort of downward resistance here. If we just focus on price action at the moment, I could draw this a little bit better. Let me draw this a little better. So we sort of have this downward price here. It would be nice to see us get above here. Okay, so for price to push up here and start closing up in this area and ultimately start pushing up above the 200 SMA, right? Above this 200 SMA, and then push up and break this downward resistance, which we've had since we topped out in late 2022. We'll get into the DXY in a little bit. Daytona Beach? I don't recognize the name, but if you're near Daytona Beach, you're like right up my way. So Interesting. All right, glad to have you in. So, a fellow Floridian, glad to have you. I'm in South Florida. I'm outside Fort Lauderdale. Not in Fort Lauderdale, but outside of Fort Lauderdale. Close enough, though. All right, let's take a look at the Bitcoin weekly on the Heikin Ashi. Now, one of the things I was signaling to you guys, again, Heikin Ashi candles, for those that haven't been here before, the way that you actually draw this chart out, you just come in here. Typically, what we look at are candlesticks, right? You can actually change the candles to something called a Heikin Ashi. Essentially, what's happening here is it's giving you an indication of trend direction. So red is bearish, green is bullish. I said watch out to see when we start printing a green candle. We printed a green candle this week, right? So we want to see another green candle, which should print this week for further confirmation that at least in the short to midterm here, we should see continued movement to the upside. Typically, when these things turn green, we at least see, you can see here we turned green, but then it ended up dumping. Dumping? No, dumping is not a word. Just for all those, I just wanted to make you aware. Dumping is not a word. Dumping is a word. Welcome in, Kevin. Glad to see you here. I've seen you before. I just like hitting this. I mean, honestly, I just like hitting this little button. So anytime I have an opportunity. But there have been a lot of times where we've seen the trend direction to the upside here pretty significantly when we've turned green. So it is good to see either way that we're turning green here on the Heikin Ashi. But I'd like to point you once again to the weekly here. What I'd really watch out for, key things you want to watch for on the weekly. All right. Really want to see the MACD start pushing up further and further to get above zero. That would be very, very bullish. I'm very interested to see how we're going to end the week here once we close. And then you want to see the RSI get above and stay above 41. So that's what we want to watch for. Price action, look, we got to take baby steps, right? Small steps. It's like what I tell people at the gym. You got to take it day, by week, by month. You know, these things turn into a habit and form into a lifetime, right? Sort of thing. Well, it's the same thing on this chart, right? We got to take baby steps. The next baby step is pushing above 24,000. So let's take some baby steps. Let's get above 24,000. We're going to continue to print some higher highs and higher lows, all right? Now, I want to point you to this chart. We're sort of riding this 20 simple moving average on the 6-hour chart, okay? So we're sort of riding this moving average, but what I want to point you to here is a golden cross. A golden cross, okay? People get confused by this. A golden cross simply means that the 50 is crossing above the 200 SMA. Now, you don't want the 200, like in this case. You see how the 50 crossed above the 200 SMA right here? But the 200 is coming down, all right? You need the 200 to flatten out like it is here, and for both moving averages to generally curl up. That's really what you want to see for a golden cross. So a golden cross is not just on the daily. The reason that I'm pointing this out on a 6-hour time frame, why do you think that I'm pointing out, thumbs up everybody, why do you think that I'm pointing out a golden cross on the 6-hour? Like, why am I going this micro? Well, the reason I'm going this micro of a perspective and on a lower time frame is I've indicated on this channel a multitude of times, and I will continue to hammer home on the same points on this channel so that it further reinforce the notion in your head, and it's just locked in. It's just like, it's like second nature, right? The reason is because on the lower time frames, as long as we get bullish momentum, okay, and it is sustained, it will bleed over into the higher time frames, like the 12-hour, which I continually hit on in this chart. And once the 12-hour starts to get bullish momentum, it's going to bleed over into the 3-day, the weekly, all that stuff, right? Higher time frames. So what's nice to see on the weekly now, not surprisingly, what I pointed out on Twitter at Crypto Bull God, we've constantly come up. You see this? Constantly come up and have been rejected by the 200 simple moving average. This is not surprising, right? Because when we break down below a moving average, what happens? It acts as resistance, right? If we're above it, it acts as support, all right? But what is at least encouraging, even though we haven't punched above it, I would have liked to have seen price punch above it. What's encouraging is we didn't do this, okay? We didn't come up here and then drop down, all right? It would have been okay if we would have actually hugged the 50 and then continued up. But we didn't come up here and dump. We've come up here and we're just battling this zone, right? So there's one of two scenarios I'd like to see occur here from a bullish perspective. Scenario one is I'd like to see us continue to fight this area and eventually push up and then come back and retest the 200 as support All the meanwhile, that's going to cause the 50 simple moving average, which is a smaller moving average, to continually move up and get the golden cross. All right, so that's scenario 1. Scenario 2, which would still be fine, would be actually to come all the way back down here in this area, let's say right around a psychological level, let's just say 20,000. Okay, let's just call it 20,000. We back test because by that point, the 50 SMA, this chart is getting really messy. What's going to happen is the more we're up here, this 50 SMA is going to continue to come up. So I'm okay if we come down and we back test the 50 SMA as support, and then we continue to punch up and we break the 200. So one of those two scenarios would be bullish. What would be bearish? What would make me say, fuck, this is not good? I've hit on this. As bullish as I am, look, we've been down here a multitude of times. What happens if we keep hitting an area of support? It becomes weaker. It doesn't get stronger. It becomes weaker, all right? So what I don't want to see is coming back into this 18.9, 18.7 area. My hypothesis is if we come down to this 18.9 area, 18.7 area, it's going to break. And I think it increases the likelihood of sort of the second scenario I laid out to you guys if you've been here the past couple videos. I've laid out two scenarios that I think are most probable for price. I think that either, man, this is getting very messy, right? I think either we're going to continue to churn up and print higher highs and higher lows, and we really did bottom back here all the way back in June, or we'll get some movement up, right? But ultimately we're going to fall, and we're either going to create a double bottom, okay, at the 17.6, or we're going to go slightly below it. And the reason it wouldn't surprise me to either see a double bottom or to see us slightly take out the 17.6, I think it would be so classic, so on par for course for this market to get the bears to become greedy, okay? Because all these bears calling for 10 and 12,000, which I don't see happening, in 14 or 15,000, and there are some ass clowns out there calling for like 5,000 or 3,000 or 8,000. I mean, more power to you. If you want to sit there and you want to fucking sit on your hands and wait for that shit, good luck to you. But what would happen is if we started to drop towards 17,000, they would just be thirsting over it and waiting to short things to go much further below 17,000. So it wouldn't surprise me in that scenario to go a little bit below, maybe down to like 16.5, 16.2, 16.8, and then bounce up hard, okay? So it's one of those two scenarios. Either that's never going to happen, or we're just going, and we're going to continue to print higher highs and higher lows, or we're actually going to see that sort of capitulation wick and V-shaped recovery. Again, if we start to revisit this 18.7, 18.9 area, I think it increases the likelihood of that second scenario. Thumbs up for everyone new tuning in. If you appreciate the content, look, it's going to help me out. It takes a second. So you can fucking use your elbow and just click right with your elbow. All right, so what are we looking at here? This is a new chart on this channel that I don't think I've shared. It is something... William, I don't see that happening, but there is a probability for everything. So there's certainly a probability to what William is speaking to, but I personally don't see that happening. All right, so where was I going? Oh, so this is a chart I have not shared on this channel, I don't think, before. This is a chart I have shared on Twitter, but not in a long time. I actually just tweeted it out today. Down here, this is the most important thing to keep in mind, okay? We don't need to understand all the technical mumbo-jumbo behind this, all right? This is the Williams alligator, and the most important thing to keep in mind with this chart from a bullish perspective, what we want to see, okay? We want to see the green above this 20 line. This is this 20 line. There's a reason that I have it bolded in black, right? We need this green to get above the 20 line. We need the red to cross below the 20 line, okay? And we need the green to be on top of the red, all right? Now, you can see what I've signaled here. Now, when this has happened, look at this large area where green was above red, had a little bit of a, drop here. But look, the market's volatile, right? So you're not going to have a perfectly clean chart every single time. But for the most part, 99% of the price action in here, 97%, sorry, numbers guy. It's the actuary in me. So 97%, 95% of the time. Green was above the red and we're above 20, right? And look at this massive move up. Again, green pushes above 20, crosses above red, red pushes down below 20, big move up. I was here for this one. Green gets above 20, above the red, red's below the 20, massive move up. Most of you, I'm sure, were here back in 2021. Not seeing the thumbs up buttons, not seeing a lot of likes coming in, guys. Come on. Appreciate it. It's going to spread it out to more people to spread sound logical analysis and not hype, okay? So what I'm indicating here, okay, this is a line chart. I just thought it would simplistically more so show the price action going on. Or we could put this on candlesticks. It would show you the same thing, but I thought it's more visually appealing to actually look at a line chart, okay? So what we see going on here, okay, is we see, and we're going to take a look at this on the weekly close. This is coming up in 42 minutes. We're still going to be here in 42 minutes, all right? We see the green starting to curl up. We see the red curling down, right? So long as this continues to happen, we could see, or we would see, so long as this continues to happen, the green push up above 20, the red push below 20, okay? Now we have the green above 20, the red below 20, and the green is above the red. You know, based on past history of what I've shown you guys, this should theoretically increase the likelihood. Okay, I've shown it 3 for instances here. It should at least increase the likelihood that we could see a massive move up here that I'm indicating. You know, I kind of went into this a couple weeks ago, hypothesizing that Bitcoin could hit up to 110, 120, 130, 140, 150, right in that range. Excuse me, right? Low carbonation in the drink. Permiso. That's pardon in Spanish. All right, this is partly a learning Spanish class as well as a cryptocurrency class. So anyway, yeah, that's what I'm showing in this chart. Right, again, these Bitcoin charts, the big ones we're going to revisit on the weekly close. We'll revisit all 3 of these, so I'm going to keep these together. Let's close out of this one. We're done with it. Let's close out of that one. We're done with it. Let's take a look at Ethereum. Now, it's very, very, very critical that you understand what is going on in the Ethereum chart. Why? I don't really care what your fundamental belief on Ethereum is, okay? This more so has to do with market psychology. Ethereum is the king altcoin. So goes Ethereum, so go the rest of the altcoins ultimately, right? So if Ethereum is pushing up and doing really well, not only will your DeFi projects be doing well and your layer 1s like Harmony 1, there can be only one. Not only will they be doing very well, and for those that haven't seen the Harmony 1 video, you need to check that shit out because the project is far from dead, and we are going to take a look at a chart of Harmony 1 once again. But everything's going to be pushing up, all right? And so I tweeted out, you know, wouldn't this be a beautiful thing to see? Now, actually, the market movement up, a couple things to point out on this chart. First off, what I've drawn out here actually is not far-fetched, okay? How many of you ultimately, I mean, in all seriousness, come on, let's be honest with one another. When we were down here and we were doing this shit, around $160, come on, be honest with me. We were doing this shit. Did you really think from like $160 we'd move all the way up to nearly $5,000? Let's be honest with one another. Nobody here, for the most part, thought that would happen, right? Right. So now we're stagnating at like, I don't know, like 1,500. All right, we're at about 1,600 right now. Is it really far-fetched? And the fib extensions I've looked at, no, sir. Is it far-fetched for Ethereum to go up to 12, 13, 14, 15,000? Fuck no. So I've kind of drawn out a general price direction here. So something similar to this, it wouldn't surprise me based on my hypothesis for Bitcoin in 2023. But as you can see here, there's a shorter term, something else I wanted to point out. Very bullish. We got above. Guys, how many weeks have you been here and I've been speaking about this zone? Remember, this zone was red. Remember? I said we kept hammering it. And if we kept hammering, look at this. This candlestick here. This candlestick here, this candlestick here, this candlestick here. I said we kept hammering up against resistance. Eventually it's going to weaken and break and we're going to break through, right? We did it this week. This is a big fucking deal, all right? The other thing is, look, we have this little price consolidation in here and we're breaking up. We're breaking above the resistance here. This is a big fucking deal. Baby steps, guys, baby steps, all right? So we'll have to see further continuation in the price here to feel even that much more bullish to the upside. But really what I'd like to see, guys, same sort of thing I've been hammering on. You see the downward resistance. We need to break above the downward resistance. Once we break it down, what do we want to do once we break this descending line of resistance? What's the next thing we want to do? Target number 1, descending resistance. Target number 2, this higher low. This higher low was set at 35.81. We need price to push up towards like 36, 3,700, right? Let's get above this. Now we got a high that's, not only are we creating higher lows and higher highs, now we're removing these lower highs and negating it, and we're pushing up. That's very bullish. That's really what we want to see once we break descending resistance, Ethereum. I don't know why the fuck everybody, or not everyone, why a lot of people are saying this is bearish and we're going to get some massive drop in Ethereum dominance. This is a monthly view, all right? This is Ethereum, excuse me, not Ethereum dominance, Ethereum relativity to BTC. What is bearish about this? Okay, we actually have a little bit of a channel here, sort of a broadening wedge, but more so a downward channel on the RSI. We need to see break, which actually could break out. Looks like it might break November timeframe. We'll have to see. Guys, we're just hugging. Let me focus on price action. We are just hugging resistance here, just hugging it, all right? We are just asking to break up to this resistance, all-time highs, and create new all-time highs. Now, when Ethereum, and I am absolutely convinced that Ethereum is going to set new all-time highs in terms of strength relative to Bitcoin. Now, remember, my personal educated opinion is that Ethereum has a high likelihood of temporarily flipping Bitcoin once we top out next year. And when I say temporarily, what do I even mean by that? I mean Ethereum being the #1 coin for like a day, maybe 2 days, 3 days, I don't know, a very short period of time before Bitcoin then resumes its place. But Ethereum is gaining ground here, okay? Ethereum is gaining ground. So there's nothing bearish in this chart. Now, when you combine the strength in Ethereum, and if you understand the Bitcoin dominance chart, guys, seriously, how many more times can I point out there's a massive descending triangle here and a bear flag? And I've spoken to the technical target down here around. Now, I put a margin in here on purpose because of this thing called volatility in the market. But I have this drawn between 23 and 20%. Okay, dominance. Guys, Ethereum jumping up in dominance relative to Bitcoin, all the other altcoins, is leading to dominance in Bitcoin breaking down. This isn't surprising. If you've been subscribed to the channel, if you follow my content on Twitter, there's nothing surprising here. This is a bear flag. Once again, for everyone new here who hasn't been here, we temporarily invalidated the pattern. It was called a fake out. It commonly happens in patterns. This is very good to see from a dominance perspective. What I'm expecting once we close out, I want to take a look at this with you guys. Once we close out, I want to take a look at myself, look at it for myself, so I want to take a look at it with you. I'm expecting this MACD to cross back down. We'll have to see. But again, I'm theorizing once we get back in this range of 39 to 40%, once we hit it, we're going to break. Why is that? Why do I think that we're ultimately going to break down and retest new all-time lows in Bitcoin dominance, which would be mega bullish for the entire space, okay? I've spoken to this time and time and time again. This would be the 4th separate time we've retested it. We touched it here. We touched it here. We touched it multiple times here. We touched it. This is actually be the 5th time. We touched it here. Again, this floor is becoming weaker and weaker. It's like a motherfucking sledgehammer that's just ramming down on the floor, and it just wants to break. And you find out that you're not on the 1st floor. You're like on the 3rd floor. And you still have, no, you're on the 5th floor. All right? We're not on the 3rd floor. You're on the 5th floor. You have multiple floors you can break below. That's what's going on here, okay? Let's take a look at the DXY. The DXY is continuing. Look, we're at 110, 111, right? We've looked at, okay, this looks like a descending triangle. No, this looks like some sort of a pennant here or a triangular formation that we sort of started to break out. You can see the RSI ever so slightly is below here, which is bullish for us. Again, we want the DXY to break down, okay? And what's going on from a price perspective is on lower time frames, we have some negative divergences within the RSI, and price still looks like it's breaking down towards, again, we broke down below the 50 SMA. We can't get above it. Sorry, I know I'm clicking back and forth here. But ultimately, I want to see how price interacts with 108, which is the first sort of zone of support. Okay, once we break through that, we have multiple zones drawn here. I have 3 that I've labeled out for you, 108, 105, 101. things are looking good from a dollar breaking down crypto appreciation perspective. XRP, I see there's a lot of comments coming in. Don't worry. I appreciate the comments. I'm going to get to them shortly. And it looks like two people in particular are blowing up the comment section. So anybody else that has any questions on TA, we are going to get to a TA Q&A sesh, just like we always do here. So not a lot to say on XRP. It's just been, consolidating for this long period of time, waiting for a breakout to create new all-time highs. And I am expecting XRP to create new all-time highs in 2023 with the rest of the market. But guys, I got to be realistic with you. And again, I restated my stance in terms of my realistic expectations for XRP this cycle. Once this breakdown occurred with that Black Swan event, okay, right back here, it really changed my perspective in terms of what was likely for XRP this cycle. And again, keep in mind, as much as I love the project fundamentally, you can't argue with the charts. That's what I'm always going to defer to. Guys, this is one of the weaker performing projects this cycle. We created a high up here. What's this? It's a lower high. We haven't even broken our all-time high, right? So we have to be realistic with what our expectations are this cycle. I'm not saying XRP isn't going to be some bridge asset and it's not going to do extremely well fundamentally moving forward. That's not what I'm saying. I have been an extremely strong performer of this project for a very long time, and I've also done a fuck ton of research on it, right? But when I look at the chart, you can't argue with me one bit that this thing has been a weaker performer relative to a lot of other assets within the crypto space. And so my expectations have come down for what is realistic. I'll put out an updated video in terms of sort of how I'm looking at this structure and what I think is realistic for XRP to top out at. We'll get into that in another video. I'll put a video out specifically. But right now, what am I looking at? Well, if we go in the smaller time frames, there's still sort of this bull pennant taking place. Okay, we've come up, we have a pennant, we have a pole, and then we have a pennant, and we're waiting for this thing to break out in this area, okay? From a weekly perspective, let's go back to weekly. How about our price indicators? Okay, let's get off price action. How about price indicators? RSI looks healthy. It's sitting at 49. MACD is it's getting close. Look at the MACD right now. Now, we want the MACD, not only do we want it positive like this, where the blue is above the orange and we're positive, we need this thing to break out above zero, right? Here is our zero line, okay? It's like right there, okay? So we need the MACD to get up here, okay? We need the MACD to start pushing up here. That's when we can really start to see some explosive price action within XRP. What else? Stochastic RSI is above 20. It's crossing down, but nothing overly alarming there. It's still above 20, which is good to see. Hey, Sister Coin. 2-week chart. Just tweeted this out today. Guys, this is something that I was tweeting about a lot in 2021 and in the earlier parts. This is like Conan O'Brien. I don't know if Conan O'Brien fans, he used to do this. I don't know what the hell that just was. When he would tell a joke, he would go like that. Anyway, I used to tweet about this a lot, and I've kind of laid off of it recently just because it's just been stagnant. There hasn't been anything to really talk about. This is XLM. Now, what is this formation? I just tweeted this out, and this is why it's important, hey, to follow me at Crypto Bull God on Twitter. That's a pretty cool avatar, huh? I did not create that. That is thanks to one Nicholas at Encash Official. Nah. Thanks to Nick at Encash Official. He created that, actually. It's an awesome avatar. I really like it a lot. So XLM, what's going on here? Guys, this is a very typical cup and handle formation. Let me explain what is drawn here just so that you know exactly what's going on. This, okay, you see this really big rounding pattern. Whoop, didn't mean to do that. You see this really big rounding pattern. Let's get a different color here. Everything's blending together, right? You see this big rounding pattern, okay? Now what happens then is there's this downward sort of like handle formation. Look at the volume dropping off. Very typical in the handle. We see some explosive volume come in, especially as we peak out here. Okay, especially as we peak out, look at the volume down here. And then we sort of teeter off in the handle here, okay? And the way that you draw this, let me explain to you how I have drawn a valid cup and handle formation, okay? Now, as you can see, you might say to me, okay, those who are a little bit more familiar with the formation, well, CBG, we topped out here. Look at this wick. We went all the way up on Binance to $1.05. And here we only topped out at 77 cents. Well, look, there's this thing called volatility in cryptocurrency. And so what I did is I focused on where really the candle bodies are. And if you focus where the candle bodies are, they're lined up, right? If I draw a line, remove the price wicks for a second, okay? If I draw a line like that, right? You tell me that the candle bodies aren't lined up. Candle body, candle body, candle body, right? So what I did is, and this is the way that you appropriately draw this, you draw the arrow, and I think I took it all the way from the bottom. I think I took it all the way from the bottom here, okay, all the way from the bottom, all the way to the top, all the way to the top of this red line right here where we had connections on both price action. This line right here at 77 cents. And then what you do is you take that arrow for a measured move and you draw it at the breakout point. Now, I don't know where the breakout point is going to be. I don't know that you know. Nobody knows where the breakout point is going to be. But if we start to break out around the beginning of December, I've drawn what the technical target would be. So when we draw this arrow up, we see that we're reaching over $3. Now, do I think that XLM is going to hit, roughly $3.50 this cycle? I think that's pretty ambitious. I think something between, and I've been on record saying this, I think something maybe like $2 to $3 I think is very realistic. I think $3.50 is pretty fucking aggressive. So I don't know that the technical target really, if we, again, from a technical target perspective, I just want you to understand, if we start breaking out here, okay, in like March, look what happens to the technical target. We drop all the way down to $2.57, which is a lot more realistic. So we'll have to see where this plays out. We'll have to see where this plays out. But I still see $2 to $3 for XLM. So keep an eye on that. Ethereum Classic, I tweeted this out. Sometimes you really miss on things, and I've had that happen before. And sometimes you nail something. I fucking nailed this chart. I have not changed anything with this chart. You can go back and look at my Ethereum Classic tweets, all right? I had a green box drawn here. Look at where the green box was drawn. This was my buy zone, all right? As we were riding up here, I said, hey, wait for a pullback. I had it drawn between 2560 and 2050. Look where we hit. Look in the upper center part of your screen. What was the low of this candlestick? I see 2068 on my screen. We missed the very bottom of my zone by 18 cents, okay? So this is one of these ones that just really worked out. Now, I'm not saying we're going to jump right up here. Depending how the rest of the market moves, we could kind of consolidate in here. But the next time we come up here, we're breaking. Okay, I will say that right now. The next time we get to this descending resistance, I'm not saying we're going to break through immediately, but I'm saying the next time up here in general, we will break through, okay, in my opinion. So I'll have to see. This is a broadening wedge, Ethereum Classic. I'm going to do two more charts, and then I'm going to go to the questions here. Hey, I see John and Stay, you're in. Welcome. Welcome into the weekly close. Excedra as well. Welcome to see you. You were on the happy hour on a Thursday. Good to see you back. This is one of the most bullish structures I've been examining. This is Chills. If you saw my tweet earlier today on Porto, fan tokens, the whole sports arena area with crypto, they were really pumping real hard today. I think Porto was up like over 20% at one point today. But this is now, speaking of Ethereum Classic, remember how we hit the bottom of the zone perfectly? Now, this is one of the ones where I had this golden zone drawn, right? And as we were sort of pushing up here in price, I said, hey, guys, wait for this golden zone. Wait for the golden zone. Well, now look, technically we did hit the golden zone, but this thing has expressed a lot of strength. Look at this. We just touched it. Just the tippy tip. The little tip. We just did a little tippy top. I don't know what the fuck that just was. But we just touched the top of this golden zone here, okay? This is expressing a lot of strength. Now, the other thing I want you to keep in mind, like, as long as this isn't like Gala, and again, there are some charts that I may not hit on during this live stream intentionally, like Gala, because I plan on putting out a specific video just for those in the next week or two. But as long as I'm not missing price data and I have stuff on the right exchange here, excuse me, this is Binance, this is literally just a wave one movement. We're still waiting for wave three in an Elliott wave structure, an EW structure, right? The third wave is the biggest wave in an Elliott wave. So theoretically, if this is the third wave coming in, this should necessitate a very large move to the upside. Very large move. This thing has been I have a very small position in this. I'll have to reconsider where the market is at next year once that bonus comes in. This is one of the ones on my list to re-examine. Holly, good to see you. Good to see you. This is one of those ones I'm going to re-examine once I have a little bit more capital next year, depending where the market's at in March, to see if I need to get a little bit more in here, a little bit more exposure, because I like what I'm seeing in the chart setup here. So again, I'm theorizing that the next time we push up to this region here, you can see I have a little smaller time frame gray resistance here. This is starting to intersect with this larger black resistance right here, okay? Once we start to push up to this area here, I would theorize it would break. I think you know what it is? I like using the word theorize, hypothesize and theorize, because it makes me sound intelligent. In actuality, I'm not that intelligent. I don't even know why you tune in. Did I just say that? Let's move on. Casper, the friendly ghost. There are so many lines of support drawn here, it makes me want to vomit. I need to clean up this chart. This is on a weekly view. Now, I will say I liked this candlestick. A little bit of an indecision, but also expressing some strength, wicking down here and moving all the way back up. I don't like this weekly candlestick. This is making me think we could potentially see a move further back. Let's, not a lot of price data here. Let's go to the 3-day. I want to thank you guys in the community and Nick for pointing out Casper, because I do hold a position in this. RSI on the 3-day is looking good at 60. MACD looks great. This one, to me, looks like it's going to further consolidate. Now, a couple things you could do here, similar to, if you haven't checked this out, guys, I just put out a video. I can't show this to you. Sorry. I just put out a video. It doesn't have a ton of views. Released it on a Saturday, so that's probably part of it. I just released a video on quant, and one of the things I was going through on that video were fib retracements, right? So one of the things you could do, I do this from time to time, measure the bottom of this move all the way up to the top of this move. There's a golden pocket I spoke to in that video right in here. Now, what I really like to see is that the 0.618 Fibonacci retracement level from the bottom here all the way to the top is lining up with an area of support at 3.1 cents. Am I saying that Casper is going to retrace all the way down to 3.1 cents? This area right here. No, I'm not saying that. But am I saying there's price confluence there with a Fibonacci retracement of 0.618, and I already have 3.1 cents lined up here? Is there price confluence, and does that sound sexy to me? Yes, it sounds pretty sexy. So what for me personally, I am looking to accumulate more Casper. I'm not buying in at current levels. What I would wait for is to see how price interacts with the 3.8 and 3.5 cent level. And for me personally, never financial advice. I think the level I would personally start to eye accumulating more, I would say, yeah, there's even zones of support in here at like 3.4. I think as we start to get down to 3.5 cents is when I would personally start to scale more in. This is going to be sort of my golden zone, anywhere between the 3.5, 3.1, and shit, if we go lower than 3.1, I'd put a lot more in. But really 3.5 to 3.1. Keep in mind, even if, don't feel disheartened if it scales back like that, guys. It's the same thing I was messaging with quant. Keep the big picture in mind, right? Low, high, higher low, higher high. Basic building blocks of a bullish narrative. So we could come all the way back to 3.1 cents. I'd be a little patient with this one. It ran up a lot, guys. Okay, these things run up a lot, and they can also correct pretty hard. It doesn't mean anything's fundamentally wrong with your project. Okay, things in charts become overheated, and when they become overheated, there are no certainties. There's just that higher likelihood that we would see a correction. Now, I have a bunch of other charts I want to move through, but I see a lot of comments. So let me jump to the comments real quick, and then we will jump back to a few charts. I'll take some questions. We'll see how the week closes out. We're going to close out in 18 minutes. Happy birthday to Mini Shift. It is Mini Shift's birthday today. I told Mini Shift for his birthday today not to count his macros. So I don't know that he's taking that advice, but sounds like he's having sushi. So happy birthday to Mini Shift. I don't think he watches the channel. He's not a crypto fan, but he has hedged his bets and bought a little Bitcoin. For all those who have been here for a little while, you know what I'm talking about. For all those who haven't been here for a while, you have no fucking clue what I'm talking about. But it's okay. You're still with me, so you're still here. Yeah, Harmony is coming back fundamentally and technically. I don't have any major concerns. It was a little rough road there for a little bit, but from a fundamental perspective, but it looks like they're in good shape from a recovery perspective, in my honest opinion. And from a technical perspective, we're going to take a look at you can see the one charts on my screen. We're going to take a look at it. I have no concerns at all. Structurally in the chart, I think it's setting up for some potential large moves. So I don't have any concerns. What's up, Excedre? Glad to see you here. So William, I think that disagreement is very healthy, right? So you're speaking to this 12.8, 15,000. I don't see it happening. We could. Now, I will say, again, so a couple comments on William's comments here. He's saying some sort of double top, FOMC this week, down we go, going to be a red week. Look, do I think that this week could be a red week? Absolutely, it could be a red week, okay? But I'm less concerned with how this week goes. I'm more concerned when I zoom out on the charts, how the weekly and 2-week chart look, a monthly chart, how's the 3-day chart looking? More so from that perspective, right? So if 1 week is coming in not great, but it doesn't change the macro perspective, I mean, I'm not sweating it. I just don't get caught up on all the day-to-day, right? And I encourage you guys not to, right? Now, if you're tuning into this channel and you're a day trader, I cannot provide a lot of help to you if you're a day trader. That's just not what I do. We're going to get into it in the happy hour this week. I'm going to be doing the happy hour on Thursday. We do it Thursday this week. I know that for sure. And one of the things I'm going to hit on, I got a couple questions on YouTube. We're going to get into technical analysis conversations and why it's important and what you can do to learn the charts. But, when I first started out reading charts, I tried the day trading thing, just not for me. And most day traders are not successful. And if they're being honest with you and they're sharing all their trades with you, if you're really day trading to make money, most people are not successful at that. Okay, they're just not. Numbers show that. So, but if you're here as an investor and you have a longer term perspective of the markets and you really love the technology and you're trying to find good projects to really invest in, and maybe there are some things that you're looking, because I comment on this, taking shorter term swing positions. When I say shorter term swing positions, I mean getting in things for a couple weeks, a couple months. Yeah, of course I do that as well. I've said the larger portion, like the bulk of my portfolio, short-term capital gains taxes, 20% once I sell, long-term holds. If you don't know the pain of long-term. Wow, I said that in reverse. Long-term capital gains tax at 20% when I sell, okay? If you don't know the pain of paying capital gains taxes, you have a lot to learn, because paying short-term and ordinary income tax rates is fucking brutal. All right. So the bulk of my position are long-term capital gains, taxes, long-term positions. There's a smaller portion that I do trade and take swing positions, but it's a much smaller portion of my portfolio. But we'll have to see how this week goes. What's nice, let's see. So the 2nd is on Wednesday. Perfect. So the happy hour will be on the 3rd. So we will definitely spend a large portion talking about whatever happened at the FOMC. I gave my thoughts on the happy hour on that. So if you haven't watched the last Bitcoin crypto happy hour, go back to Thursday's live stream and watch that portion. Just that segment of the video. I would check that out. $19.8, yeah, around $19.8 was a key level. I agree. Yes. Listen to William. Click the damn like button. Let's see what else we got here. BTC dominance breaking down. Good point, Evan. You know, I've just hit on this forever. ETH does look strong as fuck. Try not to miss any of these comments here. Yeah, I've been speaking of Bitcoin dominance forever. It's breaking down, and as long as we see a massive breakdown like I'm anticipating in Bitcoin dominance, again, what that means as a recap is that's not Bitcoin's price going down. It's the dominance. It's the percentage of the share of the overall cryptocurrency market. It's how much market capitalization is Bitcoin occupying relative to altcoins. So if Bitcoin's dominance is shrinking and shrinking and altcoins are getting bigger and bigger, what it has historically meant when there's a large percentage drop like that is that Bitcoin's still appreciating a good amount in price, USD value, but altcoins are just running much, 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 much harder such that they're gobbling up market share. That's all that means. That's all that means. But yeah, that's what we're seeing. Bullish divergence in the RSI. William, I went through the chart so quickly. You're going to have to comment on which chart you're looking at with that. We'll take a look at it. Maybe on the ETH. I'm not really sure what time frame. Spell it out. If you saw bullish divergence, I'll take a look at it with you real quick. You just need to spell out what project and what time frame. Matic is a very strong performer. John, props to you. Brother, I never go to the grocery store anymore. I just did an Instacart order today. And that Instacart order actually brought me my mango bubbly, which is very tasty. I just suggested to someone actually yesterday to try the Truly Mango Chili Margaritas. If you have not tried them, so real quick, you can see the short shorts I'm wearing. That's phenomenal. So these are the Truly Margaritas, okay? These are the Truly Margaritas. Right now, typically I go with high noons. I like high noons. These are the Truly Margaritas. Now, if you want to try something really good, okay, the original flavor is it's good, but the mango chili is the way to go. The mango chili Truly Margaritas are phenomenal. Let's see what else we got going on here. ALBTTA. All right, we can take a look at that. I'll take a look at that once I get through a few more charts, etc. Appreciate the question. Harmony One is a good project because its market cap is fully diluted and the fibs show massive potential upside. Only downside is hack. Well, the hack was fundamentally it was a big fundamental issue. Okay, DeFi Kingdoms leaving Harmony One was a big deal. But as we'll take a look at shortly, there is massive, and I like the way, Steady, I really appreciate the way you worded this because there are no certainties. As much as I believe one is still in a really good position to go over $1 potentially by next year. Seems hard to believe. Yes, that's more than a 50x from current prices. I still believe it has that potential, very much so when you look at fib extensions. It's a potential, right? It's a potential. It's not a guarantee. There's no guarantees in this market. So I really like the way you've worded that. Kadena, we can take a look, Holly. Thank you for the question. Harmonics. Evan, I'm not sure what you mean by harmonics. Do you mess with harmonics? Oh, okay. So you're talking about a technical indicator, but it's sort of ringing a bell and it's not. Sorry, you got me on the spot, and I'm not sure 100% what you mean with harmonics. If you can further explain, maybe I can answer. Evan's saying bearish divergence, no clue. Okay, so I went through these. I wasn't really getting to the questions as they were coming in. Good perspective, Todd. Okay, if William is correct, which is certainly very possible, I hope we have a red week. DCA all the way. Great perspective. Yeah, I'm not familiar with the shark bat Gartley. I'm not familiar. Sorry, it sounds like something you made up, to be honest with you. Do I like BNB? We'll get into BNB. I mean, how can you not like BNB? It's remove stablecoins for a moment. It's the third largest market capitalization project, although Doge is making, I'm actually going to, it's one of the ones I'm not going to chart. I'm going to put out a video on Doge. Doge, Doge may shock a lot of people and end up pushing all the way up to number 3. I know that sounds crazy, but we'll see. We'll see. There's certainly a possibility for it. But BNB, yeah, I mean, I'm not in love with it or dislike it, but you got to respect it just because the market symmetry on it and the chart, the way it's set up, is very beautiful. All right, I see a few questions coming in. Let me get through a few more charts. I'll take the questions, and then afterwards, we're going to take a look at Bitcoin, how it closed out the week. I'll kind of recap where I started off here, a little head nod, and that'll be that. So let's get into H-bar. This is on the weekly. You can see we have some short term. Let's get off this shit here. So you can see we have some in the short term, some downward resistance here that we keep hitting up. The first, we got back below this 6.2, which I really don't want to see. Again, nothing concerning, but I really wanted to see a little bit of strength here and stay above 6.2. So we need to see us break this downward resistance. Once we break the downward resistance, and I keep talking about this 10 to 12, really 10 to 11 cent area. We got to start pushing up towards there. So need to see a little bit of strength come in here. I'd like to see some strength come in here in the next 1 to 2 months and start pushing up. And by the way, that reminds me, just to reiterate, we need to be patient, right? So as fundamentally excited as I am at the technology with H-bar and Hedera, and as much as I think the chart looks awesome, we have to remain patient because things are not going to move up immediately. We just have to wait for price to develop. But the MACD's pushing up, getting closer to 0. RSI is still very low. It needs to get higher. Stochastic RSI is very healthy. We just need to be patient, but everything looks good on the H-bar chart. We're still respecting this line, which is really good to see at 5.4 cents. Mana had a nice move today, although it looks like it lost a lot of those gains. Sandbox did too. A lot of the meta plays did. Nothing. I'm trying to point something out that's really changed over last time. Nothing really. We're respecting this line around 60 cents. This is one of these projects similar to Harmony One that has created a double bottom. Touched here, touched here. Guys, I mean, RSI looks in good shape, like we're going to get a cross above the EMA. MACD looks good. Stochastic RSI is very low. We'll have to see how the week closes out. It looks like it's moving to get a push above 20, which would be very good. But guys, I've reiterated this before. If you want to get in a meta play, and I'm not going to argue with you if you want to get in Sandbox or Decentraland Mana, split it. Do 50-50 between both. But as you're salivating over Quan or Casper or XRP or whatever price projects, guys, we are sitting at price levels here. Look at this price level here that we have not seen since all the way back here in mid-2021 before an astronomical run up to $6. Come on. I mean, this is the time you should be scaling into a project like Mana. You do not, look, this is the time if you believe in Metaverse, which I absolutely do, this is the time to be buying in right now. The time to be buying in and going, gee, I think maybe I'll consider it is up here. You've just lost, think about it. Once we push up here, it's done a 3 to 4x, okay? Down here is when no one's interested and no one's paying attention to Decentraland, and same thing with the Sandbox. So things are just consolidating with Mana. All right, this is a 2-week view on One Harmony. We're still at the moment respecting this upward ascending channel or line of support, which I'm not super concerned about. Really, from a price action perspective, guys, I pointed out in my Harmony 1 video, let's just make sure we're respecting the 1.3 to 1.7 cent area, which we have. Again, double bottom, so nothing. We have this huge red zone of resistance. But let's take a further look here. Now, I've identified a key area on the RSI at about 40. We're just under there at 39.2. Again, this is a 2-week candlestick, okay, that's set to print next Sunday, so we'll have to take a look at it. MACD's curling up to cross positive. Stochastic RSI is pushing up towards 20. It's at 17. Let's go to the weekly, though. How are we looking on the weekly, and how are we going to close out this week? Well, first off, we have a green candlestick. Very good to see. The RSI, again, we want to see the RSI push up above 40. It looks like we're going to close out and be around 35, which is good. The MACD is continuing to churn up, which is good to see, but we're still several weeks away. Again, I reiterated this on my Harmony 1 video. We have to remain patient. We are still many, many weeks away from this thing getting up above zero. It probably won't get up there until, as long as we continue sustained price action to the upside, it could be January, February, until we get back up, all right? Probably February, all right? Stochastic RSI looks like it's in good shape. It's above 20. It's about neutral at 47, slightly below the 49 level here. The blue slightly below the orange, but still looking fine. But yeah, this thing, I mean, again, just to all-time highs. If you believe, like me, that the project is far from dead, and the price structure, as I spelled out in the Harmony 1 video, is anywhere from looking bearish, it looks like the rest of the market, and is pretty on par. And actually, from a Fibonacci retracement level, is actually expressing greater strength than a lot of other projects. Guys, I want to show you something. Just from current price levels up to all-time highs, you're looking at basically you're looking at a 2,000 return. So you're looking at a 20x, okay? So that's just the all-time highs, okay? Again, I still, based on education, believe that once we top out next year, that Harmony could potentially see a price over $1, right around 110, 120, right in that area. So we'll have to see. Anywhere between 80 cents and $1.20, I think, is what I recall looking at. A few more charts. I'm going to get into your questions. Reef, it went lower than the green box than I had pointed out. It's still respecting the macro perspective, higher highs and higher lows. We have sort of this ascending line of support that we're looking at. Guys, I'm not going to put out an update video. Someone asked about it until we get up into this region. We still have a while to get up there. But again, if we zoom out on a 3-day, there's nothing alarming here. Okay? I just said that I increased my position in this more than I was anticipating because we went lower. I was like, fine, I'm throwing this amount at it because prices are all the way down here and I'm getting in. So this is a low, right? This is a high. Right? We could come all the way, we could come all the way down here and we still have a higher low, right? Next thing we want to see is a push up to get a higher high. So nothing overly alarming on Reef's chart. Injective is making a strong push to the upside. I think this descending, these were drawn on different time frames, which is why you see two gray lines. This thing looks like it really wants to break out soon. Now we're sitting at $2.19, okay? This thing could move very closely to $4. Mark my words and follow me on Twitter because I will be posting about this once it does, okay? Yeah, and the price indicator is looking good as well. You know, one chart that I forgot to go over real quick. The market just closed. We will get to Bitcoin and see how the week closed out. This is the total market cap. We're not going to look at total 2, total 3. This is everything. Nothing fundamentally has changed here. Stochastic RSI looks good. RSI is neutral at about 42. Stochastic RSI, MACD continues to curl up. I suspect whenever we do push up here, which could be late 2022, maybe early 2023, maybe some initial resistance, but I expect a break. Again, it's the same thing as the other charts we were looking at. This is a lower high, right, relative to here. So once we break this resistance, ultimately we want the total market cap to get above this level at about 2 trillion, right? We want to get above 2 trillion and get this high greater than that high, right? That's a really great drawing that I have up on the screen right there. Hopefully you followed that. 2 more charts and I'm getting to your questions. Flux, this is one I've tweeted about. We're right in the golden zone I spoke about. Nothing alarming here. This is another one that once we push up, when we hit this, I suspect it'll break. And then you're talking about all these levels of resistance between $1.90 and $1.17, $1.91 and $1.17. Okay, so nothing has happened in this chart that has surprised me. I mean, I drew out the golden zone. We hit right in the golden zone or golden pocket. Right, last chart, Porto fan token. Right, I hold a real small amount in this one. kind of revisited the chart. This is sort of a falling wedge on a 2-day. All right, we've broken out from it. The other thing I kind of took a look at here is you could actually draw a bull pennant all the way from the breakout here once volume picked out to here. We sort of have this channel. Technical target puts us at like 24 bucks, 24, 25 bucks, right? So this thing went a little bit lower than I was thinking it would, okay? But it hasn't fundamentally changed the view of what I'm looking at here, right? We're still sort of just consolidating in here, right? Now, the next time we definitively come up in this area, I suspect it'll break. And we'll have to see if volume picks up. I'll make sure to stay on top of this, guys, and tweet about it. We'll have to see how volume picks up, break above this big red area here, and then see if we can make a push towards $24 going into next year. All right. So with that being said, I had a few questions. We're going to get to charting a few things out real quick, and then we'll get into the actual weekly close and see how Bitcoin looks. All right, let's see what we got here. Ooh. Ate dinner a little too quick. Feeling a little indigestion there. Ate a little quick so that I could come on the live stream for you people. Nothing exciting for dinner. It was one of those nights where like I did not feel like cooking whatsoever. All right, let's get back to some questions. I thought I had a chart saved on this one. Yeah, I do. All right, so yeah, I just talked about this. So actually, okay, so good question. Excedre, you tell me what's going on. Forget price indicators. Let's just look at price action, okay? You tell me what's going on here. Why are you so surprised, or why did you ask me to chart this? See, this is something that, so Excedre, you want to get to a situation where you look at this chart and you're like, yup, nothing surprising going on. I don't even need to ask a question on this. Dude, this thing is going, I mean, this thing is like, so far, is playing out perfectly. So why is it playing out perfectly? Well, look, we have this downward resistance, right? What happened when we broke the downward resistance? We've looked at so many of these charts like Quant, okay, that did the same exact thing. This is what happened. And it's so common, okay? We broke the downward resistance, okay? Came up here. We backtested. We've backtested the downward resistance as support. Now what we want to see is push to the upside. There's nothing alarming here. In fact, this, okay, if you believe in the bullish structure, the project, whatever, you want to accumulate more, this is the time to pick up more. This is the time to accumulate more. Never financial advice, just my educated view. This is the time to accumulate more because we have now backtested this area as support. Could we fall below? Of course we could fall below. There's a probability for everything. But what I'm telling you is the market structure is playing out perfect right now that if you want to accumulate more, this is the time you want to accumulate more. If you're emotional and you don't know what you're doing, when this thing runs up, you're like, I'm just going to buy more up here. Well, that makes no sense. You don't buy on these big green candles on the way up. You don't do that. You wait for pullbacks, okay? That's when you know you're becoming emotionally invested. You wait for a pullback and you're like, wow, we just backtested prior to sending resistance and it's held as support. I'm accumulating more right in here before a potential move up. So everything looks fine. What was the other one that you guys wanted me to look into? I think someone asked about Matic. Honestly, no updates on Matic. I already looked at the chart I was going to talk about. It's not even worth looking at. I've spoken to that chart at nauseum for the past couple weeks. We're just waiting for 105 to break. Nothing bad or great going on with Matic. It's just sort of doing this, and we're just consolidating and waiting for a break above 105. We're not going to take a look at Matic because that's all it's doing. Okay, Holly is asking about Cadena. I don't think I have a chart of Cadena. I don't think I've even ever charted it. Let's take a look at it. Any exchange in particular? Excuse me. Getting a little tired here. Oh, man. Sleepless October with the Phillies in the World Series. I could not stay up for Game 2. I stayed up so late for Game 1, and then still got up early on Saturday, and it was not a good time. Okay, not a lot of price action there. We need something with a lot of price action because is this all we're going to get? All right, this is what we're going to use. This is a 3-day. All right, so the first thing, Holly, that I would point out, downward resistance there. Nah, let's just, I don't want to overcomplicate the chart. So there's downward resistance I'm drawing in the shorter term right here since we saw this spike up back in May. Wow, I could feel my energy level drop. I can tell I'm getting a little tired over here. God, it's only 8 o'clock. I'm so old. Wow. What was I saying at the beginning of this video that someone told me I looked like I was 27? Yeah, maybe from about 10 miles away, but right now I'm feeling like I'm fucking tired. All right, so now, if you had someone that didn't know what they were talking about, I mean, technically they'd be correct, okay? If you had someone that didn't know what they're talking about, like, oh, well, look, there's a pole. We got a pennant. We're going to fucking break down. Yeah, and the technical target's below 0, so don't even let me hear that shit, all right? But what we do have is price coiling up here, right? Now, I would suspect on the third touch, Holly, that once we come up here, we are going to break. So what we need to look for are areas of potential resistance, all right? So I like, and again, remember, it's like zones, right? Zones of resistance and zones of support, but, we're going to just draw a line in the sand and draw it somewhere that makes sense. So I like... Yeah. I like this right there. That's beautiful. Why do I like that? All right. There's a little bit of confluence back there. Body. Once we got below here, couldn't get above it. See the bodies here? So I like that area there. I feel like I need a smaller time frame. When you get on the smaller time frames, what happens? You get more candlesticks. It provides you more opportunity for price confluence and to chart areas of resistance and support. So... maybe I'm just tired why I'm having struggling so much charting this one. It's not as clean as I would have. Yeah, it's a good area of resistance. Let me give you another one. What the hell was that? What accent was that? Why do I always do accents? You guys ever notice that? If you've been here for a while, why the hell am I always doing accents? I don't know, like right... Ooh, that's nice. Okay. I like right around there. So, man, that's a far way up. All right, here's what I would say, Holly. So for Cadena, for all those in Cadena, we're sort of in this falling wedge. This is actually a falling wedge sort of pattern. Now, why is it a falling wedge? Look how wide the gap is up here, and look how narrow it's getting in here. Narrow it's getting in here. See how it's kind of coiling, okay? So the first thing is we want to see price action. I'll put it back on the 3-day. We want to see price action start to come back up to here. I would suspect on this third touch, okay, because this would be the third touch, okay, I would suspect that it will break, okay? Once this descending area of resistance breaks, I have an area of resistance right around $1.76 and $2.35 and $2.62. So these three main areas of resistance are what we'd want to watch for next. Now, in terms of areas of support, oh, wow. So this looks like it was printing new. This is where I wonder if I have all the price data on this one. Interesting. Kind of like Gala. I didn't have all the price data until I actually put it on a different exchange. But regardless, what I'd want to watch for, assuming I have all the price data, which I'm starting to think I don't, but because I'm seeing new bottoms put in here. What I want to see, okay, I want to see this low here hold. Okay, this is at $1. This is at $1.20. Okay, I want to see $1.20 hold. All right, we don't want to start breaking $1.20 because what would increase the likelihood that there would be further downside is if $1.20 starts to break And at that point, if $1.20 breaks, let's go back in the chart to see where there's more price confluence. Okay, if $1.20 breaks, Holly, and then we're going to get off of this, I would, oh, this is clear as day. Wow, bit of a drop there. So, yeah, caution if it breaks $1.20, because if it breaks $1.20, you're looking now. Dollar is a psychological level, so it could fall to $1, but you're talking about 90 cents essentially. So we want that. If you're bullish on this project, you want to see $1.20 hold. If it doesn't, I mean, you could see something gapping down all the way to 90 cents. Keep in mind, $1 is a psychological level. But so that's what I'm sort of looking at. So if we've bottomed out, watch for on the upside what I indicated with resistance and downwards. Downward resistance is why. I hope that was helpful. There was somebody else had one other question. Cadena, I'll take one other question because I know there was one other one, and then I want to get to the Bitcoin chart because we closed out. KuCoin? Oh, I charted it on the correct exchange. Okay, thanks, Holly. Holly, I just saw your comment. Somebody else had a question. Shit. What was the other project? It was Cadena, ALBT, KDA. I guess that was it. I thought there was one other one. Maybe I looked at DCA and was just, when you're doing this stuff on the fly. Okay, I think that's it. If there's one other chart, I'll take a quick look at it. Oh, okay, there was one. Phil? Phil looks amazing on the weekly. What the fuck is Phil? Phil. All right, we're going to take a look at this. Evan commented that Phil, I've never heard of it before. Oh, File. Is that Filecoin? Yeah, it is Filecoin. All right, cool. Yeah, Filecoin. Yeah, I'm not super familiar with the project. I've definitely heard of it. I'm just not super familiar with it. As soon as I said it out loud. Is this all the price data? Is this all the oh, you asked about Kusama. That's right. That was the other one. All right, I'll still take a look at that. So I'm going to be done with questions because I'm taking a look at Filecoin and then Kusama. So this is on KuCoin. Brother, this chart looks like shit. This chart looks like, all right. What are we looking at here, brother? Am I missing price data? Because on KuCoin, this looks like a turd. I'm going to be honest. This looks like a steaming turd. Yeah, this looks like a dumpster fire here. And again, unless I don't have all the price data, I don't really have much to say on this project from a TA perspective. Let's look at the 3-day. I mean, there is some. Okay, so let's talk about some positive things here. Let's be positive. Let's have a positive mindset. Look at this bullish divergence. Okay, the RSI is moving up as price has been going down. Now, to me, that tells me at some point this thing is waiting for a potential explosive move to the upside, especially how long this has been. Holy shit, this has been going on since January. So there is the potential. This has been going on for like 11 months. There is the potential for this project to have a massive move up. Yeah, there is some downward resistance. Let's get off that for a second. Okay, so I'm going to challenge your thought process. And I challenge your thought process because I care. Caring is sharing. No, sharing is caring. So sharing my knowledge is caring. So I want to be, it's not even being devil's advocate. A lot of downward resistance here. Now, one thing I want to quick point out before I play devil's advocate to him saying the risk to reward is amazing, which I'd actually disagree with. Because there's an important lesson to learn here that I need to tell everybody. So stick around for what I'm about to share. What I like to see on top of the bullish divergence, there's a base here. So for me personally, now if you have a strong stop loss in place, okay, I actually think accumulating at this zone, I would actually agree that the risk reward, I would agree with you, Evan, the risk to reward is good so long as you exercise a stop loss. Let me explain why. We're sort of basing here as RSI has been going up and price has been going down. This is sort of like a Casper scenario, potentially in the making here, and just like a lot of other projects that at some point this thing's just going to burst up. Okay, so I agree with you. It's a good risk reward, but I would caveat if you have a stop loss. And the reason I say that is because I've learned this the hard way. You see this go down so much and you're like, oh my God, this project is down so much. Can't go any lower. Look how much higher it has to go. Like, we hit a high up here of like $230. Like, we have to go higher. Like, this thing is like, the risk to reward is amazing. Well, what if your psychology was the same when we were here and we were sort of basing and you're like, oh my God, we're sitting at 18 and we hit a high of 235. Like, the risk to reward is awesome. Yeah. And then we plummeted from 18 all the way down to $5 and fell another 73%. So I would challenge you and say, Evan, why can't we do this? Why can't we drop all the way down to $1.80 and drop another 64%? I'm just asking, like, why can't that happen? So this thing has been dead to rights in a downward channel for a very long time. This is not, to me, a very attractive chart. The only thing that's attractive about it to me personally, and again, don't take these things personally. I'm always just going to be honest with you. I'm just sharing what I see in the charts. It's healthy to disagree. The only thing that I personally see healthy in the chart is bullish divergence in the RSI. Price has been moving down, and it's been going on for 11 months, and we're basing here. Again, if I were to enter a position here, tight stop loss right below the wick, maybe right below the wick here at 473. Maybe I put in a stop loss at like 469, okay? And if we start hitting like 469, like I'm selling, because this thing, I mean, why can't it drop another 50%? Thing's been in a downward spiral forever. So again, we could see a massive pop here. But for that risk reward comment, for it to be really good, I want to have a tight stop loss in here. Very tight stop loss. All right, you're throwing out a lot of comments, so you definitely had a lot to share. We're going to take a look at Kasama in a second here. And we need to move along because I'm seeing what time it is. All right. I mean, I know Wyckoff, but perhaps not as well as you. I don't. I know the pattern, but I'm not an expert in Wyckoff. VIX is down. Yeah. Again, I'm just again, there could be other indicators you're looking at and other patterns, price patterns you're looking at, and you're like, this is an awesome opportunity. All right, maybe you have an edge on me. Maybe you have an edge on me, and you're looking at other stuff. I'm just keeping it very simple based on the price action. Price indicator. This is a really quick 3-minute look at the chart, keep in mind. And I'm just looking at this saying, if I was in this, I'd be having a tight stop loss. So, yes, I agree. That's why I said have a stop loss. So we'll see. We'll have to see. Come back in a couple months. Maybe this thing breaks out. I mean, there's no reason this thing can't break out, and start breaking up towards like $12 and more than double in size, especially if the rest of the market's going up like you had said. Let's take a look at Kasama, and then we're moving on. All right. Oh, wow. If this is all the price data, me likey what me see. RSI is very low. MACD is curling up. Stochastic RSI is below 20, but it wants to cross up potentially this week. Downward resistance. Let's see. Let's see where we price action was back tested. Now, this is on a weekly view. Ooh, what's this? No, that was... All right, let me just draw this out. We fell all the way down to like that level. Is there any confluence over here which would suggest... Actually, I see this down here. To be honest with you, at like 2278. Kusama. What the hell's the project that Data Dash is pushing all the time? Is it Kusama or is it Kava? I think it's Kava. Like all the fucking time he's pushing Kava all the time. Yeah, I haven't been able to stand his videos lately. I have not watched his videos in a while because his I don't know if you guys can like read between the lines, but he's the person I've referred to in my videos where it's like this clickbait bullshit with his thumbnails. I tweeted something, a retort to his one video call. He said, I mean, in his video, he was calling for certainty for Bitcoin to hit, it was either 10 or 14,000. And he did the same bullshit in 2021, and it worked out that it didn't hit the level he said. He said, Bitcoin is definitely not creating a new all-time high this year. You don't, any person with, I think, especially for somebody with a large following with him, especially for someone like that has a large following like he does, you do not come out and ever state certainties in the market. You tell me one time where I've ever come out here and stated certainties to you. I never have. And I get offended. I get really offended when someone comes out and makes accusations. It's only happened once or twice that I said something would happen. I have never, ever said something would happen. I've said that this is my educated view on it and it has a probability for happening, and this is what I see in the chart, but there's no, I go out of my way constantly to say there's no certainties. It has bothered me to no end now. Twice he has said a certainty within the market, and he's going to be wrong for the second fucking time. And I called him out last year and said, look, buddy, you might be right. Bitcoin might not create a new all-time high this year, but you should never come out. That's going to bite you at some point if you come out and state certainties in the market. And I think it's going to bite him this year. He's come out and said with certainty Bitcoin's going to 14 or 10,000. He's going to be fucking wrong. So anyway, I don't know, just a little heated over that. Anyway, areas of price confluence on a 3-day for Kusama. I want to get even more granular. I want to get more granular with the price data. I want to really be helpful on this. Steady, were you the one that asked the question here? I'm pretty sure. Fuck that. We're going to stay on a 3-day. Sorry I'm going back and forth, you know. I think it's just late for me anyway. I'm getting a little tired here. I can tell. Okay. Well, I have a zone there between 57 and 22. Let's actually see where price data is at. 36, huh? All right, so 57, it kind of held up as an area. Right around 57 is a key area. You can also see right around, boop-a-loo, right around there. Now, this is going to be red for resistance. Red for resistance. And, of course, the no-brainer is like right there, our bottom. Okay. So, oh, yeah, I got to draw this out, too. Fuck yeah. Right there. Again, I'm not getting too cute with price. It's zones, right, guys? Zones. All right, so Steady, I'm pretty sure you asked this question. Yes, you did. Okay, thank you for the question. These are sort of the zones that I have drawn at the moment on a 3-day chart. Now, first off, let's speak to the macro picture, right? Now, if this chart is correct, this looks like one big, to me, and again, I'm not an expert in EW, Elliott wave analysis, but to me, this looks like one giant wave. Could be wrong, but to me, that looks like one massive wave, which means we'd still be in store for a third. The third wave is the biggest, so could mean a massive price is in store for Kusama. But anyway, I really like this chart at the moment. The other thing that I'm seeing beyond these areas, you can see the areas of resistance for yourself. I don't need to draw. I mean, I've gone through this so many times on what to expect, right? So with other charts. So I'm showing you the areas of resistance. But so we're going to have to confront those. But the other thing I like to see sort of looks to me sort of like we have a falling wedge, right? Because there's a wide gap here, and then it sort of narrows down here. We could see a falling wedge, which is, that's the case, this would be the target. So we could have a target coming all the way up here towards like 57 bucks. So I sort of see a falling wedge in here. But what I would watch for, and let's see if we have any bullish divergence playing out on top of that. Oh, we do. Not surprisingly. After a while, when you chart these things for a long time, you sort of know what to look for. So the other thing is we see some bullish divergence coming in here as price is moving down, right? So that's good to see. So within this broader down channel, okay, we have to break above the resistance here, and then we're going to have all these areas of price confluence you can see drawn out to the right of your screen between 44 and 66. We sort of have this falling wedge, which could play out with some bullish divergence. So that's what I see on Kusama. Thanks for asking the question. Good one to chart here. All right, so last thing I wanted to do real quick, I just wanted to go back to see how we closed out Bitcoin. A couple of charts I said we'd look at. Okay, so first chart, MACD's getting closer and closer to zero, to break above zero. RSI is at 39. Now, again, we want to get above 41, so we're getting closer and closer. Stochastic RSI, 89, which is above 78. You can see in the lower left-hand corner of your screen there. In blue, 89.83, above 78.59. Very bullish. Guys, let's get above this 24. Let's push above the 24. Let's break this resistance here. Let's get above 24 at the 200 SMA. Heikin Ashi's green. Great to see, right? RSI is continuing to churn up. Again, this is the weekly in the Heikin Ashi. Good to see. Yeah, I mean, this is the Williams Alligator. Still moving in the right direction. Okay, we'll have to see how this week completes. This green starts to get above 20. It's a real good sign for us. Okay. And Bitcoin dominance, just like I said, MACD is starting to turn red again. Okay, and we're starting to get a break. Now, once we start, again, fifth time we touch this level, in my opinion, it's going to break. Okay, never a guarantee. Can't tell you with certainty, but I'm just telling you more than likely now that we've touched it 5 separate times, this descending triangle will break out. There is a reason when you come to my profile, a lot of notifications. I don't know if I'm getting tagged in something or what's going on here. If you come to my channel, what you see here is this has been tagged on my channel for a reason, okay? If you haven't watched this, check it out. Come on Twitter. I'm not going to play it right now. It's just 2 minutes. It's an excerpt from this video on my channel, Bitcoin and Crypto Set to Shock the World with a question mark. You want to watch that video? The video itself on YouTube that I created, it's not a very long video. It's not going to take up a lot of your time, but it's well worth your time to watch it because I feel that it is a very logical view in terms of my expectations going into 2023. So that's going to do it. I do see some other Dave, thank you for the question, but I'm signing out. We can take a look at that another day. So everyone, I just want to thank you for tuning in. Keep an eye out. You know, I'm just real quick before everyone tunes out. Have a nice evening. I hope everybody has a really good start to the week this week. So today is Sunday. Now, like I said, what I'm contemplating tomorrow, actually, we have a monthly close. Okay, we have a monthly close. We're going to close out October. I may do a live stream tomorrow. I may do a live stream. If I did a live stream tomorrow, it would be around the same time. It might be like 7:30. I'm not going to go over a lot of charts, but it'd really just be emphasized on monthly views. And if I'm doing monthly views, not just would it be Bitcoin and Ethereum, but projects that have been here for a while where it makes sense to chart things on a monthly perspective. I'm not going to be looking at HBAR or Harmony One or Man on a monthly, okay? It's going to be projects that have been here for a little while like XRP, XLM, Bitcoin, Ethereum, some projects like that, and the total market cap. We can kind of talk about it. Maybe a much shorter live stream, like 35, 40 minutes. But considering doing that, and then I'm going to try to push out another video on Tuesday, kind of in between either doing one on Gala or Doge. So I'll have to give that some thought, and then the happy hour on Thursday. So hope everyone has a nice evening. I feel like I'm losing my voice. I hope you appreciated the content. If you did, thumbs up button is always appreciated. Drop me a comment in the video. If you're not watching this live, I appreciate just any engagement I can get. Make sure to click the bell icon and subscribe to the channel for notifications when I go live. Until next time, everybody, share this with at least one person and spread awareness and carry the education forward. Have a good night, everybody. Start the week strong in the gym.